Up guys, welcome back to PowerPointer 257 C++ tutorial series, and in this video we are going to be getting into one of the most essential topics in fundamental programming, the for loop, right? And so just like a while loop, this is going to be another type of loop where it's going to iterate over something. But the cool thing about a for loop, remember we talked about while loops, right? And this is the syntax of a while loop, right? And this is going to run as long as this condition is true, right? But if it's not true, right, if we had an integer spacing. If we had integer, say 5, right? And we wanted this to run while x is, say, we can only put one statement in here. Actually, we could put multiple, right? But let's say if the statement, whatever we put, right? Whether it be, we could technically put two statements, right? X is greater than 6 and we could say, x is greater than 4, even though this one's true, right? This actually isn't going to run, right? Because the entirety of this statement is false, right? So nothing gets printed, right? But so a bit of a difference between a while loop and a for loop is what we're going to get into now. And really the dynamic part of a for loop is with a for loop, you can determine the amount of times you want whatever code you put in and want to get executed during your loop, you can determine how many times you want that to get executed. And so there are three main parts, right? The first is going to put, this isn't the correct syntax. I'm just writing this out so you can see. I'm going to say init for initialization. So there's three parts of a for loop. The first is going to be your initialization of a variable. Your second is going to be your condition. Hopefully I'm spelling this right. It's going to be a condition you set. Now, what's a condition? We talked about conditions with while loops, right? Right, your condition is going to be your statement, right? Your condition is going to be, while x is greater than 4 or whatever, right? That's your condition. So you're just like that. So you're going to initialize a variable, you're going to put a condition for that variable, and your last step is going to be you're either going to increase or decrease this variable, right? Increment or decrement, right? And so without further ado, I just typed that out so you would actually with words get to see the three steps of a for loop. And then obviously in here is where your code your code is actually going to get executed. But so let's get into actually the syntax of how to write it. So what I mean by initialization is you are going to when you're initializing a variable, for example, we're initializing this variable right here, right? So the same thing is going to happen. Typically the most common syntax you're going to see is int I is equal to 0, right? Pretty much every fundamental computer science classes, when they teach for loops, this is what it's going to look like. And so the reason why 0 is usually easier, especially in C++, is because things that we haven't gotten into arrays yet. We're about to. If you want to also watch the array video and then come back to that video, that actually might just show you an extra application of how important for loops are. But nonetheless, a lot of things are 0 based. So by initializing the variable equal to 0, you'll get to see you'll see that kind of makes things simple a lot of times. Also. And so secondly, let's get into the condition, right? So we're initializing this variable I is equal to 0. And so then we're going to have a condition, right? Let's say we wanted this to run, 3 times, right? We could say while I is less than 3, right? And then the reason why this will run 3 times is because then we'll increment this variable. In this case, whether it's plus plus I or I plus plus doesn't make a difference in this case. When we're just say printing out, let's print out x, and then we'll increment. I'm going to end the line too. ENDL. And then I'm going to increment x, right? So what we're going to see is we're actually going to see 5, 6, 7, right? When we print this out. Once this finally loads, yeah, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and so what we did, we said while I is equal to 0, right? This condition is met because 0 is less than 3, right? So that's true. So this is going to run. And what we're doing when we increment the variable I, this means that the next time we come around back up to the top of this loop, I isn't going to be equal to 0 anymore. I is going to be equal to 1, right? And so the first time we iterated through this, right? I is equal to 0. This condition is true. So then we run this code, right? We printed out 5. We incremented x, so now x is equal to 6, right? But we incremented the variable I. So when we came around to this loop the second time, now I is equal to 1, right? And this condition is still true, right? And so we're gonna print out x. Remember, x is 6 now because we just incremented it. We're printing out 6. Then we increment x, and now it's equal to 7. But we incremented I as well, right? Now I is equal to 2, right? And so that condition is finally met, or finally. Sorry, I'm getting really excited for some reason. It's still met, right? But once we get, and this is something I want to emphasize with for loop, because a lot of times on computer science exams they might try to trick you, right? This is a very basic syntax, right? I is less than 3. It's really simple to understand, but they might try to test you with I is less than or equal to 3, right? Now this is going to print out 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And the reason for that is because this is going to run not necessarily until this hits a given number per se, but rather just until this middle condition evaluates to false. Okay, so we could, another way we could do this is say until next, or I is, this is a very common exam question, just testing whether you know basic for loops or not. We could say I is not equal to 3, right? This is going to print out, this is actually going to print out 5, 6, 7 again, right? It's the same thing. It might just look a little funky. It's a little different, but nonetheless, as long as you understand the concept that this is going to run as long as this middle condition is met, right? Once we get equal to 3, this statement is false, right? Because 3 is in fact equal to 3, right? It's not, or in other words, it's not equal to 3. So yeah, that's a basic, there's so many applications of the for loop. I just wanted to teach you some of the basic syntax for it in this video, but we are going to be using this a lot. Like I said, I haven't gotten into arrays. Is going to be one of my next videos, but for just a quick example, right? I'm just going to declare an array of 5 elements. I know you guys haven't been taught arrays yet, right? But I'm just going to say this is just a really quick introduction to how they're very important, right? And then I'm going to see out the indexes of R. If you don't know what's going on right now, that's perfectly fine. But it might be useful to watch the array video before coming back to this video, right? And this is just going to print out all these elements of this array, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this is just one of the many applications. And what we're doing, right? I'll get into this in my array video, but right, this is the 0th element, this is the 1st element, this is the 2nd element, 3rd and 4th element of the array, right? So we're saying print out the 0th element of the array, right? And then by incrementing, we come around and then we say print out the 1st element of the array, and we increment it again, and we come around and we say let's print out the 2nd element of the array, all the way up until this condition is no longer met, right? So the final true condition will be R of 4, and R of 4 is the very last element. So that's just one application of a basic for loop in the syntax. But yeah, till next time, guys, keep programming, keep having fun, keep getting better. Thank you guys for watching.